I'm Chereé, and in this video I'm going to show you the NAV People's NAV integration with DotMailer. If you haven't heard of DotMailer before, DotMailer is an online marketing automation platform which allows you to create and manage sophisticated mailing campaigns. If you're using DotMailer or looking into a marketing automation platform and wondering about integration with your NAV ERP, then this is a great place to start. I will show you how to utilize standard NAV data and segments and interact with your marketing engine, giving you the ability to export your NAV segments directly into DotMailer. It gives you the ability to push useful data back from your DotMailer campaign into NAV. For example, which contacts received the campaign, who opened it, who unsubscribed, giving you a much better overview of your campaign success inside NAV. Okay, so the best place to start when we're talking about segments in NAV is contacts. So I'm going to first take you through just a simple explanation of contact management. So within your contacts inside NAV, it has sort of a very nice CRM module. And within the CRM module, you have the idea of, which is essentially your contacts are your address book. So these can be anybody that your organization deals with. So this could be customers, vendors, prospects, or even employees. And the way it's broken out is in bold, you've got your company contacts, and beneath them you've got your people contacts. So you can see the relationship between, this is the company, the Canon Group, and you know all the people that are working for the Canon Group. So if we just go into the Canon Group, we can see that through contacts you can start gathering data about your particular contact. So this might be, for example, profile questionnaires or industry groups. I'm just going to take you very briefly through that. So in terms of creating data to be able to segment your contacts, there's several ways you can do that. Obviously, you can segment it in some ways, for example, like salesperson code, whether they're a company or a person contacts as well. And there's other ways you can actually do that. So for example, under company, you have business relations and industry groups. So if I click on business relations, this gives you a way of segmenting your contacts, whether they're a customer, maybe they're your accountant, maybe they're a bank account, maybe a lawyer, maybe they're a vendor or prospect. The other way that you can do this is through industry groups. So if you have different prospects or customers, you can say which industry groups or they're a part of. So there might be in advertising, there might be in IT, there might be wholesale or private client or retail, for example. You can have as many of these as you like. The same with business relations, so they could be in advertising, but they could also specialize in retail, for example, so you can segment it as many ways as you like. Another way that you can segment your contacts is through mailing groups. So mailing groups gives you a manual way of adding particular contacts to a mailing group. So for example, for this contact, they're already on a Christmas card list and there's a Christmas gift list, so I can easily just create a new mailing group. Maybe they can be in a newsletter, and that will automatically, when you're running a segment, pull those contacts out into the segment. The last way in terms of, again, gathering data is through profile questionnaires. So if I just go back into my home, I've got this button called Profile Questionnaires. What Profile Questionnaires allows you to do is answer additional information about this particular contact. Profile questionnaires can be done by company or person level, and you can simply set up questionnaires like this yourself with the different information. So for example, you can say number of employees or company ownership, and you can set a whole range of different questionnaires against a particular contact. So for example, if I have like a customer satisfaction index, maybe you want to do a customer survey, and you can pull through some questions and answers that you can answer your contacts. Again, this is all about gathering data against your contacts inside NAV. So once we've got all the data pulled together against your contact card, then you can create your segment and then start looking at potentially creating a DotMailer campaign. Next, I'm going to go into my segment, and I've saved a shortcut here on my navigation pane. So I'm going to click on my segments, and I'm going to create a segment because I'd like to do a campaign on for example, a GDPR roadshow that the NAV people are going to be doing. So I'm going to create a new segment, and it's going to automatically generate a number, and in the description I'm going to call it GDPR Roadshow 2018. And you can attach the segment to a salesperson, And that's just in a very high level my segment created. I can also create an interaction template. So what I'm going to do is I can have a whole different bunch of interaction templates set up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify this against my DotMailer campaign. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And the next thing to do on my segment is actually to add contacts. And this is where it becomes quite powerful. All that data that you've gathered against your particular contacts in the system can now be utilized. So this add contacts routine gives you a lot of different options. So for example, you can base it on territory codes. So you can look at contacts in different regions. You can do it based on salesperson. You can do it based on maybe the start of a postcode. A type is in if they're just a person or a company contact. You can also use your profile questionnaires as well. So you can say, give me all the contacts that have answered this particular answer to a questionnaire. So for example, give me all the contacts that are above 99 personnel in their organization. You can also say what mailing groups you want to segment against, or interaction template codes. So when was the last time we interacted with this particular contact? Show me all the contacts in my system which I haven't spoken to in the last year, and all these various different things that you can start pulling together. You can also, again, you've got job responsibility, industry group, and business relations as well. Again, all of those things I've showed you before, you can start pulling data out on. And then you also get the value entries, which from my perspective is probably the most powerful. This is where you can say, based on a customer, show me results where a customer has bought this, but hasn't bought this before. And then you can start using your NAV data, your item ledger entry data, to pull out this data into the contact. So you're really utilizing all the different areas of NAV. Maybe show me a contact who's bought this, but this particular item's been replaced by something else. Then we send out a marketing campaign for this new product that we have. Again, this becomes very, very powerful. In this example, I'm just going to show you a very simple filter, which is going to be on where I just want to see contacts which are my salesperson code. I'm going to click OK, and then what that'll do is it'll pull through the system and start inserting my contacts into this segment. So we just collapse my column there. So what I can see is it's pulled through all of my contacts with my salesperson code. And as per with normal segmentation, what you can do quite nicely is you can then manually then decide, actually, I don't want to send this to Susie, so I'm going to delete Susie, but I might want to send this to Tom. So I can start adding contacts manually, or also just removing and adding contacts, again using that routine that I just used as well. What you get then is you get a selection of criteria. So the segment is saving the criteria. So what you can see here is that I've added contacts and the filter was my salesperson code. Then I removed some contacts. I just removed a single one and added a single one. You can then also save this criteria. So in the future, if you want to reuse this segment criteria, you can save this and reuse this in the future. So in terms of the DotMailer integration, what's really quite nice is that it really extends the use of the segment. So as standard, what you're able to do is you can export a CSV file from the system and import that into your marketing automation tool. You can also print cover sheets or print labels. So for example, if you've got a calendar that you're sending out, maybe you can print a label and just stick it on the envelope. But what that's not being able to give you is data back from whatever mailing tools that you're using. So you're not giving data back to say how successful your mailing campaign was. So this is where DotMailer comes in. So what I'm going to do is we've got a little button here, so integration with DotMailer, says use a DotMailer campaign. If I click on that, what that will do is I'll link to my individual DotMailer account and import contacts that I've pulled out here into my DotMailer address book. Click OK, and now I'm going to show you how to use DotMailer. So I'm going to my DotMailer campaign here. So with DotMailer, I'm not going to do a very in-depth demo of DotMailer today, but if you want to get more information about DotMailer, feel free to contact them directly about the DotMailer features. So I've pre-created a campaign called GDPR Roadshow 2018, and if I click on that, it will show you some of the features inside DotMailer, which are allow you to create your campaign. So I've just created a template. I've actually used one of the templates that they have and just inserted some of our logos, some text. You can do things like nice hyperlinks to sign you up to different pages or watch links to videos, and images and pictures as well, for example. You can also add obviously your links to your social media, and there's also, as you can see on the right hand side, a link to any PayPal. So if there is any sort of links to payment providers, then they can provide you as well. So I'm going to save and continue. So I've got the basis of my campaign and what it's going to look like. You can also import, if you've got a design tool for creating campaigns, you can just import that into DotMailer as well, but it does have a nice creation tool. You can then create your plain text version of your email. Again, you can either import a plain text version that you created, or they can generate a plain text for you based on what you've created. Save and continue. At this point, you can do a test proof of your email, so you can have a look at what it looks like. I'm going to skip that phase. And it then asks me select which contacts I'd like to send this campaign to. I've got here at the bottom my GDPR Roadshow, so I'm going to select that, and that's import all the contacts from my NAV database, and it gives me some options of when I'd like to send it, and in terms of remailing. I'm going to save and continue. I'm happy with that particular segment. And this is sort of the last final check and send. So you can see things like you can put it from a friendly name, give it a subject. So you have full control of actually designing your campaign. Once you're happy, do a final check, or you can just send campaign immediately. So I'm just going to send my campaign, confirm, and then what that will do, that will send me an email shortly. And then you can see my DotMailer email has arrived. I'm just going to double click on that. And there's my beautiful campaign that I created literally in minutes. And then what I can do now is go back into NAV and see how successful that campaign is. So if I go back into my segment, I can then log it to say that that's been sent. Click OK. And NAV will then log my segment as sent. And the next stage is to actually have a look at my segment to see how successful that particular campaign was. So on the navigation pane, I've got a shortcut for my log segments. So I'm in my log segment, and I now need to have a look at my campaign. So I click on DotMailer Campaign against my log segment. And then it'll bring through all the contacts that it's been sent to. So if I update my activity, what I should see here on the right hand side is I've got one open and one click because I've clicked on the email. If I go down to my contact, which is here, I can see I've opened it and I've clicked on it. It also shows me additional information, for example, page views, clicks, if I forwarded the email, or estimated forwards, how many replies they've got, the date sent, when it was first opened, when it was last opened, from which IP address it was actually opened, and if there were any unsubscribed soft bounces or hard bounces. If somebody actually clicks on unsubscribe an email, inside NAV it will automatically tick that contact as exclude from segment, so they won't in future get any mailings from you or will be excluded from any segments going forward. So that sort of manages the unsubscribe. Inside your interaction log entries inside NAV, it will log that particular campaign as being sent against that contact. So if I have a look at my interaction log entries on my ribbon, so if I filter on date, I can see all these contacts from this particular customer has been sent the DotMailer Campaign. So again, you're getting the full history of the communication that you've had with your contacts and can view that. And at any point inside the system, you can go back into the segment and have a look at the campaign that's linked with that particular segment. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. If you'd like to get more information, please feel free to contact us.